You're listening to the Noisy Neighbours podcast.
Hey, everybody. Noise Neighbors podcast. Joey McEwen, Mark Mulvaney. Not on mute. I'm like...
Great start. Off to a great start.
Nervous about it every time now. How you doing, dude? How's things?
Yeah. I mean, all in all, everything's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, true.
We live for this. We live for City being shite. So come on.
Yeah.
We were born for this.
I mean, yeah, I made it this far, you know? I mean, the first, when did we get bought? 08?
Yeah.
The first 8 to 10 years of being a City fan for me was not fun.
No.
Early 2000s? God.
No, most years were not fun.
Ooh. We got an Irish boy in the chat. Hell yeah.
Nothing new. We should be doing a lot better. But what are we drinking tonight?
What do you think, dude?
Borough.
McEwen Fuel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yet another standard. City or crap. I'm having a Guinness.
Oh dear. Cool. Well, it's like a midweek live stream extravaganza, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got loads to talk about. We've got to talk about City's disappointing result and performance.
Yep.
We just watched Liverpool and Spurs. They couldn't quite snatch a draw that we all wanted. Jammy Liverpool again. That first goal, mate. Oh dear.
I was in the City Discord talking about this, and there was people in there that were, angry and everything. But I mean, it's to be expected. I feel like at this point that Liverpool are going to get just some lucky, Salah hits it. There's a bunch of people in the way. It loops up over Lloris, who's having a hell of a game up to that point, and even past then. Lloris was massive for them. It's just another Liverpool win. Some
people say you earn your luck. Can you say that about this side versus, say, us right now, in terms of like hard work yields good luck?
Kind of, sort of. I also think there is a deal in play with Satan. Over in Liverpool, but that could just be me.
Yeah. No, I think it might be true in this case, mate. I don't think we're working very hard, to be fair. Not working hard, not working smart. The energy levels are gone. The confidence is shot.
Yeah.
We're in a massive funk, attacking wise. So let's have a chat about it. Before we do that, where are people watching this from? We got Alan. He's watching from the south of Ireland. Nice one. Must be sunny and warm down there, probably like the south of France. We got Michelle coming in from Houston. We have a problem.
Yep.
That was from a film, wasn't it?
I mean, it was from a real life thing too, I think. But yeah, it was also set in a movie.
We got Rissi Corleone. Where are you calling from, mate? I feel like this guy's like in the down on the islands or something.
Which islands?
Down like the Caribbean.
I don't know which way to say that one either, so don't worry.
Yeah,
I can't judge you on that.
We got Carl calling in watching from Washington DC. What's up, mate? Alex is in Charlotte. Nice one. Nice to see you, mate.
Ooh, Rissi's from Hotlanta.
We got Jasper, Texas. Infamous Jasper, Texas. Next. Don't Google Jasper, Texas. Rissi's in Atlanta. Okay, cool.
Wrong.
I don't know why he was from the islands, but anyway. Nice one.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. So you want to talk about these problems we have? I think.
Yeah. Shall we frame it? I've got an idea of how we might frame this.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. How do I get rid of Rissy's
Got you.
comment there? Oh, thank you, mate. You pro. You bloody pro. Okay, I thought we might frame this discussion of City's result and performance and current situation from what Pep said post-match in his post-match comments. He was asked, what's the problem with City and scoring? Why can't City score? And he said, we just need to put the ball in the net. That's what he said.
Right.
And that sounds very, very simple. And I want to know from you, Joey, is it that simple?
I mean,
are there a lot of deeper issues beyond that? Or is that like, 80% of the problem? Is it 50% of the problem? It's obviously a problem, right? Nobody's clinical at the moment.
So I think what's happened is Pep is just giving a smart ass pissed off answer. Yeah, of course you could say it's as easy as putting the ball in the net. And that's what we have to do. That would make sense to me. The issue is down to we have a striker that's not in form. We have a lack of chemistry across the entire front 3 or 4, however you want to count that up. We have a shape that doesn't lend itself to creating a ton of goals normally. I mean, you have your odd games where this system can create a bunch of goals, but it's more of a kind of structured, safe system to play in. You've got a manager that I don't think knows, I don't know, what he wants, or maybe he's going through some sort of philosophy, I don't know, like a crisis of philosophy or something, where he's ever since the Lyon match, he's like questioning everything he's ever done because he hasn't been the same since. So is it as simple as putting the ball in the back of the net? Sure. But to get to the point where you're near putting a ball in the back of the net, there are a million questions and a million reasons, I think, for why City aren't doing that right now and why City are struggling.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about how we lined up against West Brom. So the build up to this, right? You and I were quite philosophical in the United review because none of us were happy with the United performance or result, but we at least understood it. I think we understood the approach. We were playing a side that had beaten us multiple times previously using the same tactics, which is sit back and counterattack. So, a smart manager would say, okay, how do I stop the counterattack and how do I break the low block down? So Pep's answer was, I'm going to play really fast fullbacks and I'm going to stay very narrow. And that's going to stop the counterattack. I'm going to play two holding midfielders for the most part. And it worked. It worked in terms of mission 1, which was stop the other team scoring. What it failed to do, though, was give us any sort of creativity or, threat up front, which has been just been a problem. But you know what? Over the last 12 to 18 months, we've been screaming for Pep to fix the defense, and he seems to have found something that works in that regard. But unfortunately, in that regard only, and we seem to have lost the attack in the process. So what we said was, okay, we understand that you've gone for that against United because losing in the same fashion to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was going to be absolute disaster. From the fan base, from us, from Pep's bosses, from the media, he would have got absolutely crucified. But what we said was, maybe we need to expect different strategies, different setups, depending on who the opponent is. We're not that same side that could just roll the 4-3-3 out and beat most teams. So we're going to have to be patient, and we're going to have to play a different style and a different shape depending on who we're playing against. Well, here comes West Bromwich Albion, right? So after the disappointment of a draw against United with no attacking threat, we thought, okay, now we open it up. Now we play a bit more dangerously because they're not a threat on the counter-attack. And, if we're gonna drop points to United, we have to beat West Brom. These are the teams we need to be beaten. But
yeah, you can take the United result out of that. We
and
have
this
to
is
beat West Brom.
yeah, true. So this is where I'll turn it back to you, man. I'll stop talking for a bit. But he essentially plays the two holding mids again. Whether you can argue whether you call that a double pivot or not. I think at some points in the game it is, at others it isn't, depending on what Gundogan decides to do. Right. But again, it's Gundogan and Rodri, which is pretty safe in the midfield. It's what was initially exciting to me was two wing backish players that you would think could get high and get wide.
Right.
They did that for very short periods and didn't provide too much width. Then you had when you saw them actually take the pitch, you didn't know whether Foden was going to be on the left or right with Sterling, but Foden was on the left. That's his natural side. Sterling was on the right. So what you thought was somebody's going to give us width, whether it's the fullbacks or the forwards. Somebody's giving it. But if you look at the average position chart, I don't know if you've seen it.
I have.
We're really narrow again. So
who was that on Twitter that did that thread today? City Tactics or something like that? Oh
yeah, Man City Tactics.
Yeah.
That person is really good, by the way. We'll have to keep in touch with them. I quite enjoy their threads.
For sure.
Yeah. So what did you think, mate? Did you expect something different when you saw the lineup? Did you think, this is a step in the right direction, or this is not a big enough change from the derby?
I thought it was a lazy and safe lineup. You're going against a team that has the worst defensive record in the league, and you're sending out. It's a 4-2-3-1, regardless of whether or not you want to call Gundogan a 6 or an 8, or it does. I don't really care what the number is. We all know how he plays. He plays naturally. He plays from a little bit deeper. You've got Rodri in there. You've got a center back pairing that, in that match, should be good enough to, not allow any goals. And like you said, we've got wing backs that should be providing width. I guess we can kind of start there. We'll start at the back. So I think at this point we can all agree that we are solid at the back until something shows us otherwise. It doesn't seem to matter which center backs are in there. Things tend to go all right. And whatever Rodri's been asked to do seems to have kind of limited counterattacks. He's not asked to push as high all the time, probably because he has a partner, but things have definitely changed for the better there. Now, the wingbacks, this is where we'll start getting into instructional issues from the boss. So when this match starts, Mendy and Cancelo are both pushing high and pushing wide. I don't know if we got more than 10 minutes into this match until Cancelo, for some reason, is tucking narrow next to Rodri and Gundogan. We don't need 3 guys there. They're not going to attack with that many people. Sterling is now isolated out on the right because there's no one out there to help him. If someone does go help him, it's Kevin or Gabby, so we're taking somebody out of the middle to go help him. We've created a problem that didn't need to exist. Mendy still pushed high on the left, which I think is fine. That's normal. He's not an inverted type of guy anyways, so it makes sense for him to kind of bomb on up there.
Yeah, I agree.
So our first problem is an instructional one, and it's from the boss. We can look past the shape for now. We'll get into that as we keep kind of talking about this thing, but you look past the shape and you just look at, okay, 10 minutes into this match, we know they're not going to try to attack us. We could cede them the ball. We could concede possession, just let them have it. They're never going to attack. They would just knock it around for 90 minutes and take the draw because that's a hell of a point for them. So we've asked one of our better attacking players, especially a defensive one. It's a really good attacking fullback to tuck in and not attack anymore. So we move into midfield. You've got Rodri and Gundogan, who are playing kind of as a double pivot. Again, is that necessary against a team that we know isn't going to attack? Probably not. So now we've got 2 defensive midfielders in there, and we've tucked a fullback in for reasons that no one can quite discern because they haven't been doing anything through the middle that would cause any problems.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, it takes 30 minutes for Pep to push Gundogan forward just a bit. As soon as he does, City score a goal and we start looking a little bit more creative. That doesn't last forever, though, because we've got the goal. Gundogan starts dropping a little bit deeper. And we're kind of back to the same old that we've been seeing for a couple weeks now.
Love the goal, by the way.
Hell of a goal.
That's
great build up.
Typical City goal, right? Interplay, touchline, pull back.
Winger cuts it back. Winger cuts it back to somebody. Yeah.
Winger on his natural foot. Done it to death. But yeah,
that's the next thing we're gonna get to. So I am Alex. I am drinking while doing this. It is okay. Don't worry, dude. If anything, it makes it more fun. This is just to show you guys how sick I am. So I keep a copy of Inverting the Pyramid at my desk with me. So I was watching the City match today. I had work when the match was going yesterday. I watched it today. And when I started seeing problems pop up, I just reached for this thing and started finding like when the 4-2-3-1 came into existence and the inherent problems with it. We'll get into that kind of stuff later, but I don't know. This kind of analysis I think is what we need as a fan base, because there's a lot of stuff that goes around in terms of either way overreacting to things, or it just feels like that shouldn't matter. We all work from home now, dude. Either people way overreact to things or they don't dive enough into things and they start following Twitter narratives. This is not going to be a happy clappy live stream. Don't get me wrong. There are problems here and we're going to get into them. So we move up into the attacking three behind the striker. All right. So we've got Kevin that's supposed to be in a 10 role. So kind of your old school number 10, sits off the striker and moves around and creates problems and creates from the middle of the park between the lines. If you go back and watch that match, most of the time there is nobody between the lines. Kevin is pushed up next to Gabby, which has then eliminated the point of playing in this system.
Mm-hmm. Nobody in the half spaces.
Doesn't make any sense. So you've got spaces, like you've got vertical spaces and you've got horizontal spaces on a pitch. The horizontal one at any point in time between the defense and the midfield of the opposition should be where Kevin was. Instead, he was up next to Gabby, which then made it impossible for us to do anything through the middle. So there's a flaw. When we talk about the wingers, so there is a Twitter thing that goes on that it's a very much to me it seems like a your da crowd, because they're like, if we put a left-footed guy on the left and a right-footed guy on the right, we're naturally going to be wider. There's not magnets. The reason that a right-footed player on the left cuts inside isn't because there's a magnet on the right side of the pitch that makes him move in. It's a how a player decides to play the game just inherently, and it's also instructional things from the manager. Phil Foden is not a wide player. Put him on the left, put him on the right, doesn't matter. He's not a wide player. He's a midfielder. He doesn't have the skill and the touch that David Silva had, but that's the position that Foden should be playing in, is an attacking midfielder that is narrow, and he should have somebody wide outside of him and a fullback out there. Like that should be a triangle just on one side of the pitch. Raheem Sterling, not a wide player. He's never been even when Sane was here. Look at Sterling's goals. He's on the back post every time. That does not scream width.
No,
I mean he's inside the 6-yard box. It's not a wide thing.
Screams good timing.
Great timing. Great timing and chemistry. You talk about the striker. Gabby is a man without a home right now. There's no service into him. There's no chemistry in how we're playing. and that's not on Gabby. A lot of this stuff is down to instructional issues. I do want to, before we keep going with this, so there is a in here they talk about inverting the period, which also, if you're a nerd, like if you like tactical stuff or you like just the history of the sport, this is the Bible. This is the best book I've ever read in terms of soccer. I keep one on my desk all the time because it's like a pocket reference for anything you'd want to know. So they talk about the 4-2-3-1, and it kind of came into prominence late 90s, early 2000s. In fact, Juan Malilo, who is on Pep's team there, is kind of credited with inventing it. So I don't know if that means we like him or not right now. Seems like he could be a
well, yeah. I mean, so the question is chicken or the egg with the 4-2-3-1, right? And the little guy. Did Pep have in mind the 4-2-3-1, so he brought this guy in because he's pioneered it? Or did he bring this guy in and this guy Lillo told him, hey mate, 4-2-3-1?
Yeah. I don't know. He's maybe I mean, it seems like Lillo could be a double agent. Yeah. I don't know.
Backroom staff.
Yeah. We will get to this.
Yeah.
So a thing on the 4-2-3-1. So we're going to talk about United here for a second. Don't leave. There is a point to this. So the United side from kind of 06 to 08 played with this system. A common lineup.
And Johnny.
Yeah, hell yeah. A common lineup. And I'll just give you the front front six. So you're holding midfielders and then the guys up front. We won't even worry about the fullbacks because one of them is West Brown, and he's not half the athlete or player that Cancelo or Walker is. So you had Hargreaves, Anderson, and then the three behind Wayne Rooney are Ronaldo, Tevez, and Giggs.
Ooh.
There are generational talents in there, which would make you think that they should crush everybody, and they did most of the time. But
generational knobhead in there as well.
Couple actually. I count 4 across the front 4.
He did say United.
So with Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney, Carlos Tevez, and Ryan Giggs or Nani slung in front of a holding pair of 2 from Owen Hargreaves, Michael Carrick, Anderson, and Paul Scholes. There are comparisons to be made here in terms of depth of, okay, City have, even if you go back to last year and put David Silva in there, you've got Aguero, Jesus, Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne, Mahrez. I mean, there's
Canada's finest.
For real. Torres, Rodri, Fernandinho. I mean, there's a ton. So even with all of that, United regularly have no obvious front man. And the front 4 just kind of take turns to become the de facto striker. City do a little bit of that. Gabby drops off a ton. Kevin's left up there by himself. Sterling's narrow. Whoever's on the other side's narrow. And because they had great chemistry, that kind of led into Ronaldo scoring a ton of goals because their chemistry was so good that he could take up that space that was vacated, and he'd be there for to finish off a move. But it is a system that requires much work to develop a mutual understanding, as was shown by United's lack of goals in the early games of the season. Does any of that sound familiar?
Yes.
And by the desperate use of the defender John O'Shea as a makeshift target man as they struggled to find fluency in drawing 0-0 against Reading on the opening day of 07-08. But when it does click, it can be exhilarating. 6-1 at the Swamp. If I remember right, that was a 4-2-3-1.
It was 100%. Genie perfected it at City.
So there's a definite chemistry issue here. There's also an instructional issue.
Yeah.
These players and this manager either they don't have a direction right now, or the direction is so hidden from us as fans that it's enraging, because we see, and again, we're very spoiled, we see a club that is coming off the back of, 198 points, then struggles the next season, and then we start this season slow. We do kind of lose the forest for the trees because we're much better defensively. We've got depth at the back that we haven't had in years. We've had a lot of injury issues. There's all that kind of stuff that goes on. It's a weird season. We didn't have a preseason to kind of work on tactical issues.
Yeah.
This late into a season, I don't think we should still be having these tactical conversations of either what the plan is or why isn't the plan working.
Well, let's talk about the defense for a minute, mate. On the day, the defense was once again fantastic. We gave up 2 really fluky chances. One was deflected off of Cancelo's leg and ended up in a chance that Edison makes a good save.
Yep.
The other was, of course, off a set piece, high ball in the air. Maybe Ake could do better, but the guy is massive who he's up against, and he turns and it takes a deflection off of Diaz and goes in. It's probably going wide. Outside of that, we gave them nothing. 0, mate.
Yep.
So once again, the defense was fine, but there's a lot of talk about tempo, mate. And there's a comment here from Jason on tempo that we played way too slow until there were 15 minutes left, and I think he's bang on with this, mate. And a lot of times, when there's tempo issues, you point at the central defensive midfielder, right? Which for the most part have been Rodri. Rodri's getting a lot of heat for this one again. Not necessarily that he's a bad player, but maybe he's a bit too slow in his metronomic ways. So I want to add to that, though, that it's not only Rodri that is playing those balls and starting the attacks. There's also the 2 centre backs as well. The way City play. That's why we require you be good on the ball at the centre back. So I'm going to lump all those 3 players together and say that on this particular night and most of this season, it's just way too slow coming out of the back. What are your thoughts on that? Jason seems to agree.
Yeah, so we're definitely too slow till 15 minutes left, and that's just an urgency issue. Is now we're chasing a game against West Brom. The lack of not pace,
rhythm,
the slow pace of play, I should say, out of the back is down to, and I will hold firm on this till the cows come home, is down to instructions to the players ahead of the back. If you want to call that like a kind of a back triangle of the 2 center backs and Rodri, the players ahead of them have been given instructions that are going to set those 3 players up to fail if they try to play anything forward, basically. So if we're doing a 4-2-3-1, so we'll take the system from the other day. If we're doing that, you've got Rodri next to Gundogan, and Gundogan might be slightly ahead of him, but we're splitting hairs here. If Rodri or the center backs are going to play a ball forward, we've already talked about De Bruyne is not in the area that he should be according to how this system normally works and is laid out. So a ball that breaks the lines and finds the man just off of the striker, that's out. Can't do that. Okay, so that one's out. You're going to tick your way out, right? So now I'm looking, is there somebody in the half space? There is, but it's my fullback. I prefer to see him higher up the pitch because he's probably not going to have the vision to find this other cutting ball. Yeah, and unless when I play the ball to Cancelo, Kevin drops back, that ball's coming right back to me. So it's a pass for passing sake. Next, I'm going to keep working out. So I work out even further. I should see a winger then. If my fullback's tight, surely my winger will be out wide, high and wide. Not the case. That is an instructional thing. That's not Pep isn't telling these wide players to ping themselves high and wide. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
So then if you work the other way, if you wanted to play diagonal, well, you've got Mendy, maybe, but he's going to be alone when he gets that ball because Foden's inside so far. There's nowhere for these players to send the ball that's going to make West Brom have to move, or make any opposition have to move. So until there is and we will get into, there's a lot of things we're going to get into in this show. One of the things we're going to get into later, because damn it, I'm going to make it happen, is I think there needs to be a drastic change in shape. And until we start players wider, we're going to keep running into this issue. You can't have a guy like Kevin De Bruyne sit up next to the striker and think he's going to make anything happen. I saw in the chat earlier that when Kevin dropped back, he was more effective. Well, yeah, of course, because that's what he does. He plays from deep. He's not a second striker. He's not like a poacher that's going to run off the back shoulder of somebody. So
that's what the heat map says he should be, though. Right, which
is an instructional thing.
Right. Yeah.
So to get to your to wrap that up, I went on a tangent. So the back three playing slow is because the options in front of them are crap, and there's no positional advantage anywhere on the pitch when they are playing 6 at the back and we are putting 5 into that 6.
Yep.
And keeping 4 back and trying to find a ball out. There's no ball there.
It makes total sense. I mean, we're talking about really top quality players here, players that were brought in to play progressive football, progressive passing.
Right.
They can't find passes. There's something wrong going on up ahead of them, is my feeling. Just last thing on Rodri, mate, because he's taking a lot of heat. You and I are big Rodri fans, but we're not so big that we wouldn't have maybe considered playing Gundogan alone in the 6 in this one. What do you reckon?
I would have played Gundogan alone in the 6 in this one. I would have played Gundogan, Kevin, and Phil.
Yep.
And I mean, that's not even a question. I would have put Farron on one side and Raheem on the other.
Back to it being a bit of a cowardly setup. Yeah.
It's a safe play. Yeah. You're putting you're basically telling them, look, I'm going to hold 4 guys back at all times. And then 10 minutes into the match, you move your right back into midfield, but not as like a wide player, as an extra defensive midfielder. Even Slaven Bilic, who doesn't have a job right now, saw that and knew that he didn't have to do anything. It's silly. It's very silly.
Joe wants to talk about Jesus and where he's operating on the pitch. He's almost, you never see him in the box. He's always another midfielder, which was kind of remember the other day on the pod, I asked you what's the difference between the way Jesus plays, the striker, and a false 9, because I honestly wasn't seeing much of a difference, but and maybe that's game to game, but do you want to talk about Jesus for a minute?
Yeah, real quick. So Joe, I don't know if that's something he's been told, or if that is a striker trying to find the game. You see a lot of times in matches, everyone sees this when matches start getting too wide, or matches start getting too, I don't know, kind of standoffish, where the ball just doesn't get up to those guys. You'll see them drop way off to try to find the game, try to find the ball. I don't know if Gabby's doing that because he feels crowded, so he's trying to get out and find space and receive the ball and be able to do something, or if Pep has told him, look, what we're going to do is you're going to drop off and get the ball, and then, we'll have Kevin push up ahead of you. Either way, that doesn't work. So if it's an instruction, it's a bad one. And if it's Jesus trying to find the game, I don't know. You can't really blame the guy for it. It's not the best. I don't know. He's not showing a lot of tactical. What would that be? Adherence, I guess. He's not sticking to where he's supposed to stick, but it's a guy that knows he's crowded, can feel that he's crowded, and he's trying to find some space to play with. I mean, this is a Brazilian after all. He wants the ball at his feet and he wants to do things, and instead he's getting stuck up there with one of his own teammates behind him, 3 other dudes from the other team, and then his alleged wingers are at some points more narrow than he is.
It's feeding on scraps up there, and it doesn't matter who you are. Could be prime Ronaldo, the proper one.
Yeah.
You're not getting the ball, Now you can do. Let's switch gears a bit, mate, because Alan says, I like that you guys look for the tactical problems instead of sensationalism. So let's do some sensationalism because we can do that too. Alan, we've gone through all the
Alan, you have underestimated us, dude. We are like water.
So I saw something sensational in the chat, and I'm going to pull it up. Let's see.
How this has got to be Plaudry.
No, I'm not even going to click on that.
Okay.
I'm not calling it.
Dickie Bitters, get out of here, dude. Just kidding. Leave a like, subscribe, please.
Yeah, hit the Patreon. God, where is it?
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube right now, so we are going to, I mean, if you haven't noticed already, we are going to try to make this a thing. We're going to try to YouTube a little bit more, but we don't want to be like monkeys. So if you're watching this on YouTube or you know somebody that might like it, hit subscribe, share it, the bell, the like, all that crap. Just help us out. Cheers.
All right, this seems somewhat sensational to me.
Okay.
So we're talking about league title hopes, and I've got to say I agree with Zagon Wispel. I think that's like a Star Wars character.
100%, yes.
Or somebody from Middle Earth. I tend to agree, mate. I just don't think the energy and the desire, the passion is there at this point. I'm not saying mathematically we can't do it. I'm not saying we couldn't go on a massive run and do it, but my vibe is top four battle right now. So, which, you know, you and I were speaking in our own private chat earlier about, you know, where's the project right now, and that guy Paul Ballas, is it?
Yep.
The guy that runs around with Pep and writes books with him and stuff, talked about, you know, Pep's very first season at City and it not being like a year one, but more of a year zero, where he, you know, he learns about the squad, learns about the league, and you know, that's his starting place to where the second year becomes really his first year of where it becomes his team. I wonder if we aren't maybe in another year zero, mate, in terms of, you know, Pep's just signed his new deal. He's never been at a club this long before.
Right.
It's a bit of a reset for him. And I think you pointed out when you and I were chatting that year zero should have been probably last season.
Yeah.
But it was such a shit show with the virus, and we really had no summer. And maybe this is like one long extended year zero again. And, you know, he's sussing everything out, and we just need to be patient as he finds the way forward, which maybe next year is it, where we can really count winning things again. Right.
Yeah. So we chatted about it. I don't think we're winning. I mean, I don't think we're winning the league this year. That's not sensational even. I mean, we are only 8 points off the top, and we have a game in hand. But at this rate, top four seems definitely achievable. Winning the league seems like a stretch unless we have to have a drastic change. But yeah, as far as the year zero stuff goes, so it seems like the club knew Vinny was leaving. That's not a question. So they knew going into last season that they were going to have a leadership vacuum in the side. Then I think the assumption was, at least amongst the fan base, and it was probably just known fact inside the club, that David Silva was not going to sign with City again, or City weren't going to sign, however that dynamic was going to work. He wasn't coming back at the end of last season. So the club is then saying, all right, well, here's the situation we're in. We've got our goalkeeper of the future. We're good there. We've got at least one of our center backs. We've got right back. Looks like it could be sorted out, especially when we came back from all the COVID stuff. You know, Cancelo was looking good enough that we could say, okay, well, right back, even if Walker were to leave or get injured at some point, right back seems okay. Left back, always a question mark. Midfield, I think the club believed in Rodri. I think they still believe in Rodri. I think Rodri is a Pep player, so he's not going to go anywhere. Pep loves Gundogan, so you're good there. Fernandinho was going to stick around. You had some future talents like Foden, Jesus. He's going to have to start showing something here soon, but he's in there too. You've got staples of the team like Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling that are just always going to be who you look to in big moments. Kun Aguero. But the club goes into last season knowing, okay, David Silva's gone at the end of this year. Company's gone. Fernandinho is a question mark. Aguero is a question mark. So then they say, okay, well, we'll get through this year. It might be a down season, but we can rebuild in the summer. We can reload a little bit. And then the following January, maybe we could nick a player here or something. In the following summer, we can finish off this rebuild. Pep will sign another contract extension, and we're off to the races. COVID comes. All that goes out the window. The club loses probably a decent amount of money due to the season shutting down. Well, since we have UEFA about this far probably up our keister at all times, cannot go spend a bunch of money.
Right.
So there goes your summer plans. There goes, if you were going to do some big ass rebuild that started this summer, no can do. So you shuffle the cards and you say, all right, what was our biggest issue? Biggest issue was center back. We go get a center back. Some people in the chat, big fan of it. So you go get your center back. Well, I gotta finish pouring my Guinness. I'm getting thirsty because I talk too fucking much. You get your center back, you're good there. What you haven't sorted out is the midfield, and you haven't sorted out the attack, but you did manage to pull off what looks like a steal and getting Ferran Torres.
Yeah.
So I think what's happened is the club has had to take year zero and extend that over the course of probably 2 years. I don't think any big business gets done in January. There might be a loan, is a feeling I kind of get because I've seen the club work like that in the past. There might be a loan to try to help us out, but I think the club at this point is going to say, well, we have something that's working in the Champions League. Let's try to keep doing that. Let's try to at least get fourth in the league. So even if we get knocked out of the Champions League, we're still guaranteed a spot next year. And then in the summer, you bankroll it.
Yeah.
You go get a 6'4" blonde from a certain place in Germany who has sky blue blood in his veins.
Yeah, definitely.
If there's pictures of him as a child in a city kit, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
You go get a left back. Maybe you rescind a certain option to buy for one player, seeing as we do not have a backup left back. But I think the big things are going to be, since year zero is 2 years, that means year one, whatever that is, needs to be a bang.
Maybe we're going a bit easy on him, like by calling this another year zero, in that part of year zero is getting used to a new league, right? And he's been here.
It's every manager has this, though. Every manager has a point when they're at a club that they have to turn over the squad. Fergie doesn't get United to be successful for 20-something years because he stuck with the exact same team from 1992 all the way through to 2011. He had to rotate that squad about 7 times. Think every 4 or 5 years the squad has to get almost turned over entirely with 2 or 3 people sticking. So it's year zero. Maybe year zero is the wrong term. Maybe it's just it's kind of a turning over. It's a recycling of the squad.
So the chat is popping off, mate. Hello to Kyle.
Shout out, Pooh Bear.
Yes, we see that you're here, mate. Yes, we did catch the derby.
Did catch that.
Yeah, thank you.
Twice for me.
Oh dear. We got a shout out Nebs for Raina's kid.
Please.
Looks great.
Please. Yeah, Nebs, I will take both, please. I'll take one Haaland and one Reina, please. Thank you.
Sort of transfers, haven't we? Let's see. Blonde kid playing in Germany. Go figure. Am I right? Looks around.
It's Alex.
That's a reference to some heavily right wing folks from the 1930s and 40s.
There you go. Good thing is this one's not actually German, so I think we can get away with it.
That's true.
There's a lot of questions about the Haaland thing.
Let's talk Haaland.
Yeah, so Haaland is, if it were to happen, it's a game changer in a few ways. It's a game changer in that we get the reigning golden boy. We get the best young talent on the planet, kind of in the collective mind of the soccer world. Football. In the collective mind of football world, we get the best young player on the planet.
Sorry, who's joined the show?
That's someone from Manchester, unlike you, dude.
Not from somewhere else in Lancashire.
I don't know. No telling. It's all this. I was gonna say it's all the same, but then I would have gotten so much hate. They don't like me already. So if Haaland comes, it also changes how we play. Well, maybe it doesn't, because we put in a shitload of high crosses as it is now, and everyone's 4'2". So maybe it wouldn't change anything. What it would give us, though, is a true focal point, which we haven't had since Negredo left. So or Dzeko. I mean, kind of.
We're on board with Haaland, yeah. I am. I think he's
Haaland guy.
I think he's it. I think he's the one.
I've already worked out. No surprise to you, I've worked out ways we can use our current players with Haaland in there if he was the only person to come in the summer.
So
Jesus playing off of Haaland in this idea, by the way.
I actually hate when our fan base reacts to a downturn in results by screaming for transfers. I just makes me want to puke.
I don't think it's the way to solve every problem, but it's definitely there are seasons where you have to look at the transfer market.
Some players are some players have to be replaced because they were so vital to you, right?
Yep.
When those players need to be replaced, they need to be replaced with the absolute best you can get. And I think that's Haaland.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm talking about Aguero and Haaland. So
yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know. I wasn't sure if you were talking about Lucas Nemecha.
Oh, mate.
Unnecessary shot at Nemecha there. So what were we talking about before Haaland? We've talked about tactics a little bit. We've talked about.
Can I ask for folks watching, put your man of the match in the chat. Drop your man of the match in the chat. I think there's one player that stood out
for sure against West Brom. Yeah.
Yeah. West Brom. Drop them in there, and then we'll talk about that person in a bit.
I'm just scrolling through the chat here, so give me a second. I'm trying to catch up on all this.
I think Kyle wants you to stand up.
Nebs, totally with you. Jess, I don't think Jesse Gonzalez is a player that City should sign. He has not the best off the field image. Also, I didn't deserve that. Djokovic.
Yeah.
That's what I'm calling you from now on.
Yeah.
Welcome, dude. Also, that is the correct answer.
Yeah, it's Gundo, isn't it?
Almost everyone with a Gundo. That's the correct answer.
Michelle,
let me see.
I think he was great, but
I'm gonna scroll up through the chat here and see what things we're talking about while I was yapping.
Ben says any other manager would be fired.
I don't know if that's true. I think if Klopp went through this same thing right now, he wouldn't be fired. I think if Zidane's not been sacked yet, I think Frankie Lampard is going to get a hell of a long leash. I think
the answer is in the question. He's not any old manager, is he?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not any
how many times are we going to get this?
Yeah, this is two things.
I don't understand this.
There's been two main comments since we started doing stuff on YouTube. Number one, these have been the two main comments, main feedback we've got. Number one, wow, you guys are fat. It's number one. And number two was I thought Mulv was Joey and Joey was Mulv. Because we occasionally post pictures on the Twitters and that, and everybody got our voices and faces confused. So hands up if
what does that say about Americans, dude? Jesus.
Can't tell these Irish boys apart, apparently.
True.
Big boned. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.
Alex, I actually prefer to go by I prefer to be classified as thick with 2 C's. Thank you.
I like to be known as just short for my weight.
Ooh, I can get with that. I can get it. Yeah, I think that's good.
Short for my weight. That's all.
All right. So some things that we talked about, that were talked about in the chat. Oh, I just friggin' saw it too. Idiot.
I think we can take one more topic, mate, and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah. Coming up on an hour, aren't we?
Yeah, but like, come on, man.
He loves this shit, by the way.
I love it because we actually get to talk to you people instead of just like weird Twitter interactions. Let's talk about real quick. Staff stuff, backroom staff.
Oh yeah.
So City haven't been the same, I don't think, since Dame Torrent left. It got worse when Arteta left. You know what? Send him the link. Send him the link.
I'll do it. You go solo.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So City haven't been the same since Dame Torrent left or since Arteta left. I don't know, the flow, the rhythm of the team is out. I don't know if it's because Pep hasn't been able to replace I guess those two with people that are talented enough or what it is, but it just seems like when they were here, it made Pep look superhuman. Because we always seem to have the right plan for whoever we were playing. We always seem to have enough of a wrinkle to make things keep going. I just wonder, has all of this been down to, like, all of the success that City's had, or even that Pep has had? Has it all been down to the fact that he had, just a hero behind the scenes? Was Dame Torrent really kind of the like Pep's second brain, where he could pick teams apart through film and give Pep an idea, and then Pep could kind of work off of that and come up with a shape or everything? I don't know. It's just one of those weird deals. I don't understand how, or maybe I don't understand. It's interesting to me that once Arteta and Dame left, City never seemed as prepared or as well equipped to take on teams in England and even Europe at times. I don't know. Maybe that's just my own like nerdy thinking about things.
If we did a deal with the devil, mate, and the 198 points and the treble and arguably quadruple and Centurions and
no chance.
10 in a row Carabao Cup winners.
My Manchester City would never do a deal with the devil, dude.
I mean, we can't forget what we did, pal. And maybe this is the aftermath.
So this is, I think that's maybe a much bigger conversation, is that City fans now, especially older fans, are moving into uncharted territory, where City have, like a phoenix, dude, risen from the ashes, dominated England, and then now we're in a transitionary period where we're not dominating England, and City fans haven't had to deal with tons of success, and then you come off a little bit, and then we don't know what the future is. Whereas if you're a fan of some of other clubs, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, even Arsenal at times have gone through this kind of roller coaster where you're down and then you're up for a few years and then you're down just a bit, you're up for a few years. Where City have just been like down, 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 down. Holy shit, we're rich, win everything, and then now we're kind of just looking around, wondering what the hell happens next.
You have to go back to probably the early 70s for City to have been on a huge high. The late 60s we were really good, and then so my dad tells me, I'm not that old, but I think we were really good late 60s, early 70s, and then it got really bad. But you're right, we're in that sort of post winning everything mode, and a lot of our fans don't know how to handle it, I don't think.
I mean, this is nailed onto what we're talking about.
Yeah. And again,
we've gone from like, oh shit, we got to go away to Shrewsbury this weekend, to if we don't walk the group stage, we're in trouble.
Yeah, and we're not doing the like, oh, everything's fine because we used to be shit thing. We realize that there's expectations come along with new ownership and new investment and great managers and great players. But in terms of a fan base dealing with, a bit of a lull after what we went through, it might be new ground for some folks, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to you're frozen on my screen. I'm going to put myself on solo and come back. Hi everybody, and see if you are unfrozen. You are still frozen.
Okay, let me.
Is everybody frozen on? Is
you're frozen? You're frozen on mine. So
really,
now who's embarrassing?
Okay.
Well,
let's ask. Can people hear us? Are we frozen on your screen? He is frozen on a delightful face. Yeah, he is actually. You're frozen in an absolutely.
I look happy?
No, you look angry, mate.
Okay, well, let me leave and then I'll come back.
You're like the victim of a Conor McGregor.
All right, let me leave and I'll come back.
All right. Hey, everyone. Joey's fixing his video situation. Hopefully I am not frozen on your screen. Smart Mulv, we've been doing a live stream here. It's post West Brom, post the big Liverpool and Spurs match from earlier. We couldn't get that draw that we wanted. Jammy Liverpool again. Isn't it always? They're in the driver's seat for the Premier League, although it's still pretty tight up at the top. So this thing's not over. Although I think, I don't know, in the body language and in the effort of the City players so far this season, I'm not feeling a title is on the cards this time. Maybe another Carabao Cup win, maybe a Champions League, deep into the Champions League. But as far as the league goes, not feeling great. Let's see. Okay. Yep, Joey was frozen. Okay. Hopefully he's coming back shortly. It's great to have you all in the chat once again. We did start up a Patreon. If you want to help support the show for just $1 a month, you can do that. Patreon.com/noisypod. Just helps go towards all the services we're paying for to put this material out for you. So we'd appreciate that. We've got swag in the swag shop. Go to noisypod.com. And all the details are there. The shop's right in that window too on the website. We've got cool T-shirts and mugs and hats and stuff. If you'd like to support the show, it's out there for you. Let's see. Yeah, Jason, imagine celebrating drawing Gladbach and struggling to put West Brom away at home. Yeah. Yeah, I just thought after the derby and playing it safe, we were going to come out all guns blazing against West Brom, considering they're not doing very well. And we just played it safe again and got what we deserved, probably. Let's see. Joey is texting me. My man's doing a whole ass reboot, he says, so he'll be back shortly. What else we got? Put a link to the Patreon, Michelle says. Yeah, absolutely. A link. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, that should do it. I'll drop the link in the chat for you. Hopefully that works. Yeah, you can just do like $1. It's great. What else shall we talk about? Brian's off. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for joining us. Gladbach could teach us a hard lesson, in my opinion. Yeah, anybody could at this point. Especially not scoring goals. Yeah. Looks like Joey's on his way back.
Papa, can you hear me?
Hey.
We're back, baby.
Yeah, cool.
It was so weird. I went to go to fix my computer, and it looked like I was trying to mess with the router and stuff, and I just kept seeing this one message show up that said HH9320. I don't know what that means, but I think I had goblins or something in the system.
So drop in the chat if you can hear Joey okay, if you can hear me, if you can see us, all right, just to know that the stream is continuing.
Do I still look pissy and frozen?
No. Great. You sound slightly different.
Okay.
But Steve Talon is saying all good. Thank you, mate. Yep. Thank you, Jules.
How'd that sound?
That sounds more like your normal.
Boom. Fixed
sound.
it. Hold on. And we're back.
Cool.
Sick. Sorry.
All right. Jules says, go sports. Yeah, love it. All good. Thank you, Alan.
Cool.
All right. So, we've done an hour. What are we going to wrap this up with?
I think we wrap it up with maybe a McCune pipe dream of how we think we should fix things.
We've done a lot of tactics today, mate.
Okay. Southampton.
We should save it. Let's talk about Southampton. Okay. How are we feeling about Southampton on Saturday? I'm going to imagine that people aren't feeling great. Southampton is no easy task.
True, especially this year.
Joey, what would you do on is it Saturday?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
What would you do differently?
I would change it. I think so. The double pivot has to go out the window. I think it's a bit well, and not only that, but there's so many changes that have to happen just in terms of what we tell these guys to do, that I think you can do a minimal change now, which is just move one midfielder higher. If we're still disciplined with how we defend and we're still disciplined with our positioning with that kind of back triangle, I think we'll be okay. But we have to stop doing this thing where if it's a player in the 10, we push him up next to the striker, or if it's 2/8, we push them up next to the striker. That's got to go out the window. We cannot do that shit. It's not going to work. So I think I would revert to just kind of your baseline 4-3-3 that you just roll out. If you had players that knew how to play soccer well, and you told them this is how you're playing and this is the position you're in, I would revert to that. Just, hey, right winger, you're going to be out there. Left winger, I need you out there. Two more advanced midfielders, I need you somewhere between the defensive midfielder and the striker. Fullbacks, go ahead and bomb on if your winger cuts in. Otherwise, don't do anything stupid. But I think we really have to just dumb it down.
Everybody's favorite formation picker.
I mean, this is as high falutin as it gets, dude.
Go on. Who is your single pivot then?
It's was it South? It's Rodri.
Okay.
That'll piss people off, but like, there's a reason we bought him, and it's to play as a single pivot or as the most defensive midfielder we have.
Okay.
Give me. Oh, I forgot we have names here, so I need to do this. I'm getting booed already. I get that. Totally get that. This is so it's not a game to play Gundogan in the 6, but I also don't know if I want Fernandinho there. So de facto Rodri. Rodri's always going to get hate. Rodri is the new Kolarov. So Rodri could have the best game of his life. Everyone would still shit on him. Totally get that. Give me Walker at right back. Oh, I need to go by nicknames here, huh? I have to make this full screen.
You can say it, and people can enjoy the nicknames as they come out.
Stones, Diaz, fluke own goal today. Don't care about it. Big tube, Rube. There we go. Mendy. This is a game I would love to have Angelino back, by the way. I'm looking at the names and I'm trying to figure out how drastic I want to be. What do we have? What's after that?
It was very bold so far, not playing with the goalkeeper.
Well, I thought we were doing 10-man thing. So give me Scott Carson and Scooter Carson. No, give me neck tats. Okay, so after this, we don't play till next Saturday. Dope. And it's against Newcastle. All right. So, yeah, we're going to go for it. Rodri, give me Kev as the right-sided 8. There we go. I forgot to use his name. Mulv won't let me. There will be, though. I'll figure out a way to talk about my dream tactics that I just text Mark all the time. Give me Foden as the left-sided 8. Cool. Give me Kun up top.
All right.
He's got a full week's rest. Give me. That's what I'm trying to figure it out. Give me Sterling on the right.
Okay.
Give me Bernardo on the left.
Wow. Irish international.
Bernardo Silva.
Silva. Yeah. Okay.
I think players have to get dropped. I also think we just need something different.
Why have you picked Raz over, like, say, a Ferran Torres? Raz is well out of form, mate.
Because I at least need 2 players in there that I know could do something. I don't know if Kun's going to make it through a game. I know Kev's good, and I know Sterling's good. Michelle, in the chat. Inverting the Pyramid. It's by Jonathan Wilson. There you go. He's got an updated version of that talks about Pep's 4-3-3 at Barcelona. That is good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not against dropping Raheem, honestly. I just, if I was gonna do my kind of like crack pipe dream of how I really think we should go, Raheem's not in the side. Kevin barely makes it. And Silva wouldn't be in there. There'd be another center back in there. It'd be a 3-4-3. But I just don't. I can't think we switch it. We can't switch it that much. Change has to happen from somewhere, and I just don't know who we change it from.
So who here is narrow? Who's tucked in? Who's wide? Who's bringing the width? Who's protecting against the counterattack?
The protecting against the counterattack thing doesn't have to be. I mean, it's a positional thing. only in the fact that the defensive midfielder and the center backs have to be smart. The fullbacks just have to know when to push up. Kyle Walker has to provide the width on the right, but that doesn't mean that Raheem should get narrow all the time. Raheem shouldn't get narrow, or Kyle shouldn't push high and wide, unless a few things happen. Kevin needs to be able to float out there to meet those two, to play some triangles, to get a little movement going. Mendy obviously provides width on the left. Bernardo, I think, should give a little bit of width over there. When I say this needs to be just a traditional 4-3-3 in terms of what you'd like use a youth team with, I mean, it needs to be as basic as possible. Right-footed guy on the right, left-footed guy on the left. Tell them to stay wide, and that's pretty much all the instruction we're going to give. Rodri knows how to stay home. If you don't tell those 2 8s to go sit next to the striker, you don't have the issue of him having to cover all this space.
Would you continue to try Kevin deeper at times? I
would only play him deeper.
You would only play him deeper. Okay, I'm talking about really deep.
In my dream lineup, he's a part of a. He's next to Rodri.
Yeah.
My dream lineup is Diaz, Stones, Laporte, and then your 4 across midfield are Walker or Cancelo, Kevin, Rodri, Mendy, and then Aguero up top with either 2 wingers playing off of him or 2 kind of inside forwards playing off of him. Because if Pep wants to keep 4 guys back, if that's what he's worried about, the only way you're going to do that and still push people forward is to play 3 at the back with a defensive midfielder, and that would be Rodri or Fernandinho. But there we go.
Big shout from Pete that Sterling has to play in this one. I think that's French for yes.
Yeah. Or he's saying Sterling has to play in this one. Whatever. I think City Slacker and me might be best friends after this.
Yeah, you guys are mates. I can tell. Yeah.
Man, oh man. Yeah,
cool.
It's that's what sucks is we need to make drastic tactical changes, and there's no time to do it in December.
Yeah.
We've got to get through this just the busy period that's coming up and take time now before we get into the match every 2-3 days. We have to take time now to start planting the seeds of what we're going to do from January to May.
Yeah, we're in a weird spot because we're not so far out of the title chase that we can just experiment completely.
Right.
We're not so far ahead of everybody that we can experiment. So, it's a weird one, isn't it? But there you go. That's McCune's lineup for Saturday against Southampton. It'll be another tough test.
Yep.
Hopefully, City take the handbrake off and get after it and finally score some goals. I don't know about you guys, but I just feel like I always feel because we're such a good side and we've got such good players and great manager, we're always like on the edge of just a breakout. Even at the start of a match when the first 15-20 minutes looks like it's going to be dull, I'm just waiting for something to click and it's all going to open up, but I'm still waiting.
Yeah. I don't know. It's because of the manager and because of the players, it just feels like something's going to happen. Pep's got to take the handbrake off though. Take the training wheels off.
This has cheered me up. Roger.
Oh yeah, Raj.
I can defend against them.
I believe him. Look at that guy. It looks like what was that French defender from the 90s, the bald guy? Oh, it's not Zizou. Who?
Charvet for City.
No, for France. There was a bald French defender from the late 90s or from the 90s that was he was dope.
Dallas.
That's him.
All right, cool. Let's wrap this up, pal.
All right. Yeah, we'll end this. Thank you so much for if you watch this on YouTube, on Facebook. LeBoeuf is the right answer. Frank LeBoeuf. Damn. Me and Alan and City Slacker are gonna do we're just gonna text each other after this and slam beers, I think, or cider for Alan. If you've liked this, if you watched it on YouTube or Facebook, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button, share it if you want to. If you're on YouTube, make sure you click the bell too, so you get notified anytime we're gonna go live or we're gonna post a video. Go to patreon.com/noisypod. If you want to give $1 a month to support the show, you can always add more if you want to, but $1 is all it costs. Yeah, I mean, you go to noisypod.com if you want to find any of our stuff. The link to our merchandise shop is there, which is shop.spreadshirt.com/noisypod or shop.spreadshirt.co.uk/noisypod. We might have a promo code coming up for that. I'm working on that. We'll see. So if you want to get stuff in by Christmas, we might have a promo code for you. Yeah, at NoisyPod on Twitter. If you listen to the show as a podcast, please make sure you subscribe and give us a review everywhere. And I think that's it, dude. Until next, yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know. I might feel squirrely later this week. We'll see. I'll talk to Mark about it. We shall see. It's going to be snowing for friggin' 4 days. So until next time, everybody, ta-ra.
Ta-ra.
You're listening to the Noisy Neighbours podcast.